Our reading today is from the Book of Deuteronomy. But before we hear it, I would like to offer some context. It's believed that for the most part, Moses wrote it, so it is probably dated around 1400 BC, give or take some 3,500 years ago. A very different ancient culture. So can it really have relevance for us today? Now, I haven't personally counted, but I am reliably informed that in the New Testament there are almost 100 quotations from and allusions to Deuteronomy. The first few chapters concern Moses' reminiscences and exhortations. So the Israelites gather for Moses' farewell speech. They must go into the promised land without him. And there is so much he wants to tell them, so many instructions he wishes to give. But he begins with a recital of Israel's history so far. God's mighty acts of deliverance. The 10 plagues culminate in the parting of the Red Sea and the destruction of Pharaoh's army. 40 years of wandering have taught them hard lessons of discipleship and dependence on God. Testing times, even times of disobedience, have taxed God's patience and provoked Moses' anger. Now he must leave them. Deuteronomy is far more than a book of sermons and rules, described as the heartbeat of the Old Testament. It resonates with God's grace, love, compassion, and care for people. People he has saved from slavery. It's a book about mission and witness, and what it means to live for God as his people in the real world. It speaks of what it means to bear testimony that is vital, relevant, and visible in a world that's searching for spiritual authenticity. Such values must be lived out in the reality of everyday relationships, where the ways of Jesus can be observed in personal morality, family values, and social justice. Jesus refers frequently to Deuteronomy, and the book keeps the focus on God and his sovereignty. You know, we need those reminders today as we live in situations where the ways of God are not always so apparent, and it's easy to lose sight of God, the provider of our salvation. So let us look at the text which has been given us today. So it's from Deuteronomy chapter 4. Moses says, "So now, Israel, give heed to the statutes and ordinances that I am teaching you to observe, so that you may live to enter and occupy the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. See, just as the Lord my God has charged me, I now teach you statutes and ordinances for you to observe in the land that you are about to enter and to occupy. You must observe them diligently, for this will show your wisdom and discernment to the peoples, who, when they hear all these statutes, will say, "Surely this great nation is a wise and discerning people." For what other great nation has a God so near to it as the Lord our God is, whenever we call to him? And what other great nation has statutes and ordinances as just as this entire law that I am setting before you today? But take care and watch yourselves closely, so as neither to forget the things that your eyes have seen, nor to let them slip from your mind all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. So it's evident from the reading, Israel's claim to greatness could only be in her God. No other nation had such a close relationship with their deity. Her laws given by the Lord and deliverance from slavery effected by miraculous means. Such claims to greatness do not reflect on Israel herself, but on Israel's only basis for existence, that God loved her into being. Without God, what would the people be? God gave Israel the land as a free gift and the commandments as the condition by which it might be enjoyed. You see, in the ancient world, land symbolized not just territory, but livelihood, home life, social relationships, and personal security. Without land, no culture, tradition, or stability was possible. Now, does this, I wonder, help us in any way to see, agree or not, how Israel see themselves today? God is near to those who pray to him. Moses tells the people to revere him and teach the children to do the same. God revealed himself through supernatural means when he gave the Ten Commandments. All Israel had to do was gratefully receive and joyfully obey. What God has done for Israel, they should reflect upon daily. The call to live up to his standards can only be heard by those that know his saving power. God's grace results in Israel's greatness, not in political or military terms, nor in affluence and prosperity, but in receiving from God the best he has to give, his holiness and his mercy. This is what makes God's people great today, too. I wonder, would it be a good idea to reflect on how his great love has affected our lives? Words from this particular Old Testament passage are written on the wall of a Holocaust museum. It said, Be careful and watch yourselves closely, so as neither to forget the things your eyes have seen, nor to let them slip from your mind all the days of your life. Surely there is nothing harder. Self-scrutiny is something we love to be distracted from, and because we are immersed in our own particular worldviews, surprise, surprise, we are often unable to be as objective with ourselves as we'd like to imagine we are about others. Rowan Williams has said that you can judge a religion on how well it helps you see more. Does faith open our eyes or close them? How open to new truth does it allow us to be? You know, sin can be a surprisingly conservative thing as we resist God's transformation of our inner selves. Faith demands a keener and more honest attention of each of us. And as this ancient and very wise scripture teaches, it must begin with ourselves. Hurt people tend to hurt people. And we can do a lot of damage by our lack of self-awareness. I think this could be a useful point to ponder during Lent.